Welcome back to the Cash Kicks channel for expert sports analysis, the best team picks, total picks, and in-depth breakdowns based on previous performances. Stay ahead of the game with our winning insights. And for even more exclusive parlay picks, check out Channel in membership. Tulsa Golden Hurricane versus South Florida Bulls. The American standings tighten as Tulsa walks into Tampa at 8-2 in conference play, 20-3 overall, sitting atop the league. South Florida stands 7-3 in the conference, 15-8 overall, just one game back and protecting home floor at the Yuengling Center. This isn't just another February matchup, it's control of the race. Tulsa owns the narrow edge in the standings, but South Florida has already proven it can score with anyone in this league. Even the projected outlook leans toward the Bulls at home, with a noticeable edge in win probability. First place is on the line, and both teams know it. Tulsa brings an offense averaging 87.5 points per game, shooting 49.3% from the field, 39.2% from three, and 79.1% from the free throw line. They move the ball at 15.3 assists per game, grab 38.1 rebounds, and commit 10.4 turnovers. Defensively, they allow 72.6 points while generating 6.5 steals and 2.5 blocks. It's efficient, balanced basketball built on shot-making and control. South Florida counters with even more raw scoring power, 90.4 points per game. The Bulls shoot 44.7% from the field, 33.7% from deep, and 73.8% at the stripe. They distribute at a higher clip, 17.8 assists per game, dominate the glass with 42.9 rebounds, and force chaos with 9.1 steals and 4.5 blocks per contest. They do give up 79.4 points per game, but they overwhelm teams with pace and physicality. Individually, Tulsa leans on David Green's 17.0 points and 5.0 rebounds per game on 53.1% shooting, with a sharp 40.0% from three. Tylan Riley adds 14.8 points and 3.9 assists, while Miles Barnstable chips in 14.9 points and shoots 43.8% from deep. Aide Papula anchors defensively with 1.4 steals per game. It's a perimeter-oriented attack that spaces the floor and punishes defensive lapses. South Florida's engine is Isaiah Nelson, 16.0 points, 9.8 rebounds, 60.4% from the field. He's efficient, powerful, and constant inside. Joseph Pinion adds 14.7 points and 1.7 steals. C.J. Brown contributes 12.0 points and 5.3 assists, and Damian Collins protects the rim with 1.6 blocks per game. The Bulls rebound at a higher rate and defend the paint with authority. The defining theme is clear: Tulsa's shooting precision versus South Florida's size and defensive activity. Elite perimeter efficiency against interior force and transition pressure. Tulsa enters on a 5-game winning streak. Victories over FAU, 78-76. Wichita State, 93-83. North Texas, 82-66. Rice, 87-81. And Memphis, 83-66. They've controlled tempo, shot efficiently, and closed games with composure. Margins are growing. Confidence is rising. South Florida has won 4 of its last 5, including a 109-88 statement over Utah and a 97-83 win over Tulane, but stumbled against Temple, 79-78. They've scored at least 82 in every game during that stretch. The offense is humming, though defensive lapses remain a concern in tight finishes. The spotlight settles on Green versus Nelson. Green is fluid and perimeter-oriented, 53.1% from the floor, 40.0% from three, 67.3% at the line. He operates in space, thrives in rhythm, and forces defensive adjustments. Nelson is interior efficiency, 60.4% shooting, 70.4% from the stripe, nearly a double-double every night. He doesn't drift. He attacks. If Green stretches the floor and pulls help defenders out, Tulsa gains freedom. If Nelson establishes deep position and controls the glass, South Florida dictates tempo. Tactically, Tulsa will look to limit turnovers and stretch the Bulls' shot blockers away from the rim. Their 39.2% three-point accuracy can neutralize South Florida's interior advantage. The Bulls, meanwhile, will pressure passing lanes, crash the boards, and try to speed the game into the 90s. Their 42.9 rebounds and 9.1 steals per game suggest second chance points, and transition bursts could swing momentum. Bench contributions and late-game discipline loom large. Tulsa protects the ball better and defends more consistently. South Florida generates more possessions and thrives on energy swings. If the Bulls turn this into a physical, up-tempo battle, they seize control. If Tulsa keeps it structured and spaced, their efficiency wins out. In the end, this feels like a game defined by shot selection and rebounding margin. Tulsa's balance and perimeter shooting travel well, and their defense has been steadier over the past month. South Florida will surge behind Nelson and a roaring home crowd, but Tulsa's efficiency and composure give them the edge late. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Tulsa winner, precision over pace. First place stays with the Golden Hurricane. My second pick for this match is total over 169.5. Michigan Wolverines versus Ohio State Buckeyes. Second place in the Big Ten is on the line, and the stakes feel bigger than February. Michigan enters at 21-1 overall and 11-1 in conference play, sitting atop the league standings. Ohio State stands 15-7, 7-5 in the Big Ten, fighting to solidify its position in the crowded middle tier. The projection leans heavily maize and blue, roughly a 3-1 edge in win probability. But this rivalry has never respected percentages. For Michigan, it's about separation. For Ohio State, it's about disruption. A statement win could reshape the conference race and echo into March. Michigan averages 91.4 points per game, one of the most explosive offenses in the league. They shoot 52% from the field, 35.5% from three, and 73.5% at the line. They distribute 19.3 assists per night, dominate the glass at 41.8 rebounds, and create extra possessions with 6.4 steals and 6.0 blocks. Defensively, they allow 68.9 points per game, disciplined, structured, and physical. Ohio State scores 82.2 per game on 49.4% shooting, 34.2% from deep, and an impressive 77.6% at the stripe. They post 15.2 assists, 35.2 rebounds, 5.0 steals, and 2.4 blocks, while surrendering 73.0 points per game. The Buckeyes are efficient offensively, but give up more defensively and don't control the boards at Michigan's level. The Wolverines' attack runs through Yaxel Lendeborg, who averages 14.3 points and 7.2 rebounds on 50.2% shooting and 84.9% from the line. Elliot Cadeau adds 5.4 assists per game, orchestrating pace and space. Around them, balanced contributors like Morez Johnson Jr., 13.7 points on 69.3%, and Adley Mara, 2.8 blocks, give Michigan interior presence and rim deterrence. Ohio State counters with Bruce Thornton, pouring in 19.4 points per game on 56.1% shooting, 40.0% from three, and 81.6% at the line. Devin Royal contributes 13.7 points and 5.6 rebounds, while John Mobley Jr. spaces the floor at 41.2% from deep. The Buckeyes' identity is perimeter skill and guard-driven offense. Michigan's is depth, efficiency, and rebounding authority. That's the matchup theme. Michigan's size and balance versus Ohio State's guard shot-making and efficiency. Michigan arrives riding a 5-game surge, wins over Penn State, 110-69, Michigan State, 83-71, Nebraska, 75-72, Ohio State, 74-62, and Indiana, 86-72. The offense has crested over 80 points in 4 of those 5, and the defense has tightened, holding 3 opponents under 72. Ohio State has been more uneven. Wins over Maryland, 82-62, Penn State, 84-78, and Minnesota, 82-74 overtime, but losses to Wisconsin, 92-82, and Michigan, 74-62. The Buckeyes can score in bursts, but defensive lapses and rebounding gaps have surfaced against elite competition. Lendeborg and Thornton set the tone. Lendeborg is efficient, strong on the glass, and dependable at the line. Thornton fuels the offense with drives, pull-ups, and 40% shooting from deep, logging 36.3 minutes per game. If he controls tempo, Ohio State stretches defenses. If Michigan disrupts him and wins the boards, the Wolverines can slow it down. Inside, Mara's 2.8 blocks per night loom large against a Buckeye front court that averages just 2.4 blocks as a team. On the perimeter, Mobley's 41.2% three-point shooting tests Michigan's closeouts. It's control versus creativity, structure versus shot-making flair. Tactically, Michigan's advantage begins on the glass. A plus 6.6 rebounding differential per game is not cosmetic. It dictates tempo. Extra possessions mean transition chances and foul pressure. Ohio State must shoot efficiently to offset that gap, likely needing north of 38% from 3 to level the math. Turnovers are another pivot point. Michigan averages 12.5 per game. Ohio State 10.5. If the Buckeyes protect the ball and force Michigan into half-court execution, they shorten the game. But if Michigan's length generates deflections and early offense, the scoreboard tilts quickly. Bench depth leans Michigan. Their rotation offers scoring and rim protection without sacrificing efficiency. Late-game reliability also favors the Wolverines. Balanced scoring reduces volatility. The X factor, perimeter shooting variance. If Thornton and Mobley catch fire early, Ohio State can flip the pressure. If Michigan controls paint touches and second-chance points, the Buckeyes will be chasing. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Michigan winner. Michigan's rebounding edge, defensive length, and offensive balance create too many stress points over 40 minutes. Ohio State will land punches, especially from deep, but the Wolverines' efficiency and depth steady the game late. In a rivalry defined by emotion, Michigan's discipline becomes the difference. My second pick for this match is total over 157.5. Wichita State Shockers versus Tulane Green Wave. The American Conference race tightens under the lights in New Orleans. Wichita State arrives at 14-9 overall and 6-4 in league play, sitting 4th in the standings and trying to keep pace in a crowded middle tier. Tulane stands 13-9 overall, 4-5 in conference action, 8th in the table, and looking to climb back toward the top half. The matchup predictor leans Wichita State at 65.3%, but the margin isn't overwhelming. This feels like a game that could swing on execution in the final 5 minutes. Tulsa leads the league at 8-2. South Florida and Charlotte sit at 7-3, and the separation from 4th to 9th is razor thin. This is a positioning game with long-term implications, not just another February tip. Wichita State brings balance and efficiency. They average 77.9 points per game while allowing 70.3. They shoot 44.6% from the field, 36.1% from 3, and 68.3% at the line. They rebound at a strong 40.4 per night, hand out 11.8 assists, force 5.9 steals, and block 4.0 shots. It's a physical, glass-controlling team that thrives when it dictates tempo. Tulane counters with 73.8 points per game and gives up 74.7. They shoot 43.3% from the field, 32.5% from deep, and an impressive 76.9% at the stripe. They average 30.5 rebounds, 13.0 assists, 8.2 steals, and 4.7 blocks. Tulane is disruptive defensively. Active hands, rim protection, and pressure that creates 10.7 turnovers forced per game. Kenyon Giles leads Wichita State with 18.3 points per game, shooting 42.9% overall and 40.5% from three, plus 84.3% at the line, and adds 1.6 steals. Karen Boyd contributes 11.5 points and 5.7 rebounds. Michael Gray adds 9.1 points and 3.2 boards, and Will Berg anchors the paint with 8.7 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks on 53.1% shooting. Tulane runs through Rowan Brumbaugh. He pours in 19.5 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 3.3 assists while shooting 44.5% from the field and 37.3% from three, converting 81.1% at the line. Curtis Williams adds 13.0 points and 4.3 rebounds, and Asher Woods supplies 12.5 per night. Percy Daniels protects the rim with 1.7 blocks per game. This is a perimeter-driven team with active defensive length. The defining theme is clear: Wichita State's rebounding dominance and half-court structure against Tulane's defensive disruption and guard-driven offense. Wichita State enters with momentum, 4 wins in their last 5. They beat Charlotte 74-64, Memphis 74-59, East Carolina 77-60, and South Florida 86-85 in a 1-point thriller. The lone stumble was a 93-83 loss at Tulsa. They've scored at least 74 in each of their last 4 wins and held 3 of those opponents under 65. That's rhythm and defensive tightening at the right time. Tulane, meanwhile, has dropped 4 of its last 5. Losses to Memphis, 80-76, South Florida, 97-83, Charlotte, 73-70, and Florida Atlantic, 79-74, tell the story. Competitive, but not closing. Their lone win in that stretch came against North Texas, 71-63. They're in games, but finishing possessions and defending late have been issues. It comes down to Giles and Brumbaugh. Giles is a confident shot maker, dangerous off the catch or dribble, and hits 40.5% from deep. Brumbaugh offers more all-around impact, 19.5 points with playmaking and rebounding. He can isolate, run pick and roll, finish through contact, and shoots over 81% at the line. Giles brings perimeter efficiency and steals. Brumbaugh brings volume, versatility, and control. One stretches the floor, the other commands it. Tactically, Wichita State must own the glass. Their plus 9.9 rebounding edge per game is a potential game changer against a Tulane team averaging just 30.5 boards. Extra possessions favor the Shockers' offensive balance. Tulane, however, will pressure the ball, chase passing lanes, and rely on their 8.2 steals and 4.7 blocks to speed Wichita State up. If Wichita State limits turnovers, they average 10.1, and keeps Tulane out of transition, their half-court efficiency and rebounding should wear down the Green Wave. Tulane's X factor is three-point shooting. At 32.5% on the season, they must exceed that mark to offset the rebounding gap. Daniels' rim protection and the activity of Woods and Williams defensively will be pivotal. Late game, free throws matter. Tulane shoots nearly 77% at the line compared to Wichita's 68%. That's a pressure stat in a tight finish. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Wichita State winner. The Shockers' rebounding control and recent defensive consistency create separation over 40 minutes. Tulane's pressure keeps it competitive, but Wichita State's balance, scoring depth, glass dominance, and defensive structure proves decisive. My second pick for this match is total over 144.5. UCF Knights versus Cincinnati Bearcats. The stakes are immediate and undeniable inside Fifth Third Arena. UCF arrives at 17-5 overall and 6-4 in conference play, firmly planted in the upper half of the Big 12 and hunting positioning behind the league's front-runners. Cincinnati stands at 11-12 overall, 3-7 in conference, fighting to climb out of the lower tier and keep postseason hopes alive. The projection leans toward the home side, giving Cincinnati roughly a 62% edge, but the records tell a more layered story. A top-half contender walking into a desperate building where urgency can flip the script in a hurry. UCF scores 82.9 points per game, while allowing 77.2. Cincinnati posts 70.7 per night and gives up just 67.0. That contrast defines the tension. Tempo and scoring depth against defensive structure and half-court discipline. UCF's offense is driven by Riley Kugel's 14.5 points per game on 41.2% shooting and 39.1% from three, plus 75.4% at the line. Darius Johnson adds 12.5 points and shoots nearly 46% from the floor, while Jordan Ivy Curry contributes 13.9 points with 45.5% accuracy and 85.9% at the stripe. Jamichael Stillwell anchors the interior with 8.0 rebounds and 12.2 points, and Themis Folks runs the offense with 7.0 assists per game, part of a 16.4 assist team average. Cincinnati counters with balance through its front court. Baba Miller leads with 13.5 points and 10.5 rebounds, shooting 53.0% from the field. Musafa Thiam adds 10.8 points and 6.0 boards with 53.8% efficiency and 1.5 blocks per game. Day Thomas provides 10.9 points and 3.7 assists, stretching defenses at nearly 40% from three and over 91% from the line. Team-wide, UCF shoots 48% from the field, 37.8% from three, and 74.1% at the stripe. Cincinnati shoots 41.7% overall, 30.4% from deep, and 66.3% at the line. UCF rebounds at a slight edge, 37.9 to 37.4, and blocks 2.7 shots per game compared to Cincinnati's 4.3. The Bearcats create more steals, 6.6 to 5.4, and protect the paint with length. The defining matchup theme is clear. UCF's perimeter efficiency and ball movement against Cincinnati's rim protection and half-court defense. If the Knights dictate pace and spacing, they stretch the floor. If the Bearcats compress the paint and slow possessions, they tilt the game into their comfort zone. Recent form sharpens the narrative. UCF has alternated momentum. A 95-86 win over Colorado, a 79-76 victory over Arizona State, and an 88-80 win against Texas Tech, but losses to Houston, 79-55, and Iowa State, 87-57, exposed vulnerability against physical pressure. Cincinnati has dropped 4 of its last 5, falling to West Virginia, Houston, Arizona, and Arizona State, with its lone win a 67-57 defensive grind over Baylor. The margins show a team struggling to score consistently, hovering in the 60s and low 70s, while leaning heavily on defense to stay competitive. The key matchup is Kugel versus Miller. Kugel spaces the floor, scores in rhythm, and excels when UCF plays fast. Miller brings strength inside, rebounding and finishing efficiently. With Thiam protecting the rim and Thomas adding perimeter scoring, Cincinnati counters with balance. But the numbers favor UCF's balance. 3 double-figure scorers, elite free throw accuracy across key guards, and a clear three-point edge give the Knights more pathways to points. Cincinnati's margin for error is slimmer. It must defend without fouling and convert inside at high efficiency. Tactically, watch transition defense. UCF prefers quicker possessions, spreading the floor with 37.8% three-point shooting. Cincinnati will aim to slow tempo, feed Miller in the post, and leverage its 4.3 blocks per game to erase mistakes. Turnovers loom large. UCF averages 11.5, Cincinnati 12.4. Extra possessions could decide everything. Bench depth slightly favors UCF with multiple rotational scorers, while Cincinnati leans more heavily on its starting core. Late-game reliability also tilts toward the Knights, who shoot over 74% from the stripe as a team, a crucial edge in a tight finish. In the end, Cincinnati's defense keeps it competitive early. The home crowd fuels energy, the paint battle stays physical, and Miller makes his presence felt. But over 40 minutes, UCF's shooting balance and perimeter efficiency stretch the Bearcats too thin. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is Cincinnati winner. The Knights' spacing, free throw reliability, and offensive depth provide the decisive edge. Enough scoring balance to withstand Cincinnati's interior resistance and leave with a hard-earned conference road win. My second pick for this match is total over 143.5, Rice Owls versus UAB Blazers. Bartow Arena sets the stage for a pivotal American Athletic Conference clash as Rice, 10-13 overall and 4-6 in league play, walks into Birmingham to face UAB, 14-9 and 5-5 in the conference. The Blazers sit in the thick of the middle-tier conference race, while the Owls are trying to climb out of the bottom half and stabilize their season. The numbers lean heavily toward the home side, an 82.8% edge in projected win probability, but conference basketball rarely follows a script. For UAB, it's about protecting position. For Rice, it's about proving they belong in the hunt. UAB brings the more explosive offense, averaging 81.8 points per game to Rice's 74.8. The Blazers shoot 44.5% from the field and 28.6% from three, while converting 70.3% at the line. Rice counters with 42.3% shooting overall, a stronger 36.2% from beyond the arc, and 69.0% at the stripe. The Blazers also hold edges in rebounds, 41.2 to 38.3, assists, 14.3 to 12.2, and steals, 8.5 to 7.2. Rice protects the rim better, averaging 4.1 blocks to UAB's 3.3, but commits more turnovers, 12.6 per game compared to UAB's 9.3, a gap that could loom large in a tight contest. Offensively, Rice runs through Trey Broadnax. The senior guard pours in 15.6 points per game, adds 5.4 rebounds and 3.1 assists, and shoots 43.8% from the floor with 32.6% from deep and 78.9% at the line. He is their pace setter and late clock creator. Jalen Smith chips in 12.3 points, while Nick Anderson adds 15.0 with 41.6% three-point accuracy, giving the Owls spacing on the perimeter. UAB answers with Chance Westry, averaging 14.9 points, 4.6 assists, and 3.9 rebounds while shooting 49.2% from the field and an elite 89.3% from the line. Jacob Meyer contributes 13.8 points and nearly 30% from three, while Evan Chapman anchors the interior with 8.4 rebounds per game to go with 7.9 points. Daniel Rivera supplies physicality inside, pulling down 6.7 boards and shooting 54.4%. Defensively, Rice relies on Stephen Giwa's 1.2 blocks per game and Broadnax's 1.3 steals to disrupt passing lanes. UAB leans on Ahmad Robinson's 1.6 steals and a collective rebounding presence that fuels transition opportunities. The defining theme emerges clearly: UAB's depth and efficiency against Rice's perimeter shooting and shot blocking. If the Blazers control tempo and limit turnovers, they control the game. If Rice finds rhythm from deep, the dynamic shifts. Recent form adds intrigue. Rice has split its last five, highlighted by an 86-83 double overtime win over North Texas and an 83-77 victory against ECU. But they've also dropped games to Charlotte, Tulsa, and Temple, surrendering 80 or more in 3 of those contests. Defensive consistency has wavered. UAB is 2-3 over its last 5, but the wins, including a 72-68 result over North Texas and an 83-73 road victory at UTSA, showed resilience. Losses to Memphis and Tulsa revealed vulnerability when forced into half-court stagnation. Still, the Blazers have held 3 of their last 5 opponents under 83 points, suggesting improved defensive discipline. The spotlight centers on Broadnax versus Westry. Broadnax thrives on control and calculated scoring, probing defenses and attacking late in possessions. Westry plays with downhill force and efficiency, capitalizing in transition and getting to the line where he's nearly automatic. One orchestrates, the other accelerates. Their duel could dictate tempo, and tempo will dictate outcome. Tactically, watch the turnover margin first. UAB's ability to protect the ball, just 9.3 giveaways per game, is a quiet weapon. If they maintain that edge, they'll generate extra possessions against a Rice defense that can be stretched in space. Rebounding is next. Chatman and Rivera versus Rice's front court depth will decide second chance points and transition pace. Perimeter containment also matters. Rice shoots 36.2% from 3, and if Anderson and Smith get clean looks, the Owls can neutralize UAB's scoring advantage. The X factors sit on the margins: bench scoring, foul discipline, and late-game execution. UAB's free throw efficiency gives them a cushion in tight minutes, while Rice's shot blocking offers volatility that can spark momentum swings. In the end, the numbers point to UAB's balance and ball security as the separating force. The Blazers score more, rebound more, and turn it over less. At home, that combination should hold. After analyzing both teams, my first pick for this match is UAB winner. The Blazers' efficiency and composure close it out, reinforcing their place in the conference pack and leaving Rice searching for answers on the road. My second pick for this match is total over 150.5